I was actually thinking about this quite recently. When people ask me what changed after moving to Britain, they usually expect me to talk about obvious things like, oh, my English has improved, or I got a degree, or I got a job, or I don't know, I built a life here. And yes, all of those things are true, but the funny thing is, those aren't the things that changed me the most. If anything, those are just the things you can see from the outside. The real changes happened quietly, so quietly that I didn't even notice them while they were happening. And I think that's the strange thing about living abroad. You don't wake up one day and suddenly become a different person. It's more like you slowly evolve, a little bit every year, a little bit every day, until one day you look back and you realize you're not the same woman who got on that plane a decade ago. When I moved to Britain almost 9 years ago, I thought I knew who I was. I was confident enough. I had plans, I had goals, ambitions, and I knew what exactly I wanted, or at least I thought I did. But looking back, I realized I was only at the very beginning of discovering myself, and honestly, I think my 20s became less about building a career and more about building a person, me. The weather today and for the past couple of days in UK has been unbelievably hot. That's why I'm wearing my cap that I got from Cheshire Rocks the other day. It's so cool and it goes with this outfit quite well, I think. I think living alone and building a life by yourself is one of the most transformative experiences a person can have. And I don't mean living alone in like a glamorous Instagram way. I mean the real version, the version when nobody is coming to literally wake you up every single morning. Nobody is reminding you about appointments. Nobody is paying your bills. Nobody is making your breakfast. Nobody is cooking for you when you don't feel like it. Nobody's fixing your problems, nobody's paying anything. It's all you every single day. And at first, that's terrifying. I remember feeling overwhelmed by things that seem completely normal to me now, like going to bank and doing my bank stuff, understanding contracts, paying rent, sorting out paperwork, going to certain appointments, going to doctor on my own, trying to understand how everything worked, shopping on my own. When you're young, especially if you've grown up with supportive parents like I did, you don't realize how many things happen in the background. Then suddenly you're responsible for all of it. And honestly, I think that's where confidence really comes from. People think confidence comes from success, but I don't think like that. I think confidence comes from solving problems. Confidence comes from surviving difficult situations. It comes from realizing that when things go wrong, you can certainly handle them. And over the years, I developed this quiet belief that almost anything can be figured out. Not because I'm special, not because I'm exceptionally brave, but because experience has shown me that most problems eventually have solutions. And that's incredibly freeing. Today, I genuinely feel like I could move almost anywhere in the world and start from zero and build a life. Not because it would be easy, but because I've already done it once. And that's a feeling nobody can take away from you. Okay, this one is funny because if my family watches this video, they probably laugh. Because I wasn't always the organized person I am today. Growing up, my mom woke me every single morning, made me breakfast. If I had somewhere to be, someone was usually helping me get there. Like my dad usually drove me somewhere. Life is more structured around family. And now my entire life runs because I make it run. I wake up, I organize my day, I manage my schedule, I plan ahead, I catch trains, I attend meetings. I don't know, I remember appointments, I pay bills, I earn money, I keep my life moving. And I think living in Britain definitely influences. People here take punctuality seriously. If something starts at 10, it literally starts at 10. If you have an appointment, you have to show up. If you've agreed to something, you're expected to be there. And over time, that mindset becomes part of you. And now I actually feel uncomfortable being late, which is something my younger self would never believe. This is probably my favorite change. When I was younger, I spent a lot of energy worrying about what people thought. I think many young women do. You want people to like you, you want approval, you want validation, you want, I don't know, to fit in. But somewhere along the way, something changed. I stopped trying to build a life that looked impressive and started building a life that actually made me happy. Those are very different things. Now I know exactly what I enjoy. I know what kind of holidays I would like. I know what kind of books I like, what kind of film I like, what kind of drink I like, what kind of people energize me, what kind of people I like to surround myself with. I know what kind of environments makes me feel peaceful. And perhaps most importantly, I know what doesn't. I don't force myself into situations that don't align with who I am anymore. If I don't enjoy something, I don't do it. If a friendship feels one-sided, I let it go. If a situation consistently drains my energy, I step away. That level of self-awareness is one of the greatest gifts my 20s have given me. So at 20, I thought success was mainly about achievement, like degrees, jobs, titles, recognition, having loads of friends, the things people can see. Now, approaching 30, I see success very differently. Success is waking up and not dreading your day. Success is having peace of mind. Success is being healthy, having good food, doing yoga, doing things you genuinely enjoy without anyone's watching. Success is having people around you who genuinely care about you, is having freedom. Success is feeling comfortable being yourself, and perhaps that's why I don't need a huge social circle anymore. A few meaningful relationships are worth more than dozens of superficial ones. This is probably the hardest thing to explain because after almost a decade in the UK, I don't feel exactly the same as I did when I left Iran, but I also don't feel British. I think many immigrants understand this a strange in between feeling because you start adopting habits from the place where you live, ways of communicating, ways of thinking, ways of approaching life, and gradually those things become part of you. Not because you're trying to change, but because that's what happens when you spend years somewhere. You absorb parts of the culture around you, and eventually you create your own identity from all of it. One that doesn't fit neatly into a single box of, oh, whether I'm still Persian or British. You are somewhere in the middle, and honestly, I think that's beautiful too. I queue properly now. I apologize constantly. I say sorry for things that aren't remotely my fault. I check the weather before leaving the house. Actually, living in Manchester means checking it 3 times. And even then, being surprised. I've learned that sunshine, wind, rain, and cold can all happen within an hour. Also learned that British communication can be incredibly subtle. Sometimes not bad means excellent. Sometimes interesting is not a compliment. And sometimes British people can be incredibly polite while simultaneously telling you they completely disagree with you. It took me years to fully appreciate that. If you'd asked me 9 years ago what moving to Britain would change, I would probably have talked about education, career opportunities, all the opportunities that you don't have in Iran. Language, traveling, the obvious things. What I never expected was that it would change the way I think, the way I approach problems, the way I see success, and literally the way I see myself. And perhaps that's a real gift of living abroad on your own. You leave home thinking you're discovering a new country, but what you're really discovering is yourself. And looking back now, I think that's been the most valuable part of the journey. That's all from me today. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope to see you in the next video. Bye!